This is Frederick Watts.
This is Jean Watts. And this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds. Love in 60. Love in 60 seconds.
Hey everybody, it's Frederick and Jean Watts. How are you guys this evening?
Hey.
Hope you are doing well. This is 11:60 seconds, and this is Monday, March 1st, 2021. We are finally out of February.
Yes, absolutely. I was like, what is the light shining above your head? You got a halo, but I guess it's the other light in the living room. So we're glad to be here tonight. We're going to talk about some wonderful things. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. We are into March. We are approaching spring. Weather's been spring-like this weekend, so we've been having a good time, still celebrating my birthday. Again, thanks to everybody who just showed me so much birthday love. I'm still just like overjoyed and overwhelmed with the love. And then of course my son's birthday was this past weekend. Also our one of our middles, his birthday was on Saturday, and just was so blessed. We had a great time sharing with him and showing love. Hey, Twy.
Yeah, so we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we hope that you guys will enjoy this as always, as we're waiting for people to come in,
share,
continue to share and like.
Yep. Tag somebody that that can appreciate some conversation about relationship and marriage and love. And as the thing that we say oftentimes, it's better to have these types of tools to share and to work on your marriage while there aren't any fires, so that when the fire comes, you can quickly put that fire out. It's just like having a fire extinguisher in your kitchen. You just have it there. You may not need it like 364 days, but 365, a fire starts. You have that extinguisher there, and you're able to put the fire out. That's really good.
Yep, that was very good. Pat yourself on the back for that one. Yeah. And as always, we appreciate you engaging with us, and
Yes.
we want you to follow us on Instagram at WhatsApp Entertainment, and Facebook at WhatsApp Entertainment, and on YouTube at WhatsApp Video. This is episode 60 for us, so we've been doing it for a little over a year, almost maybe 2 years.
Yeah, going
on that, and so we want to share what we've learned in our 23 years of marriage. 24 years of marriage with you guys, and we want to hear from you, and then those that are looking to be married. We have some good advice for being single and transitioning, and how to wait, and how to prepare, how to be the best spouse that you can be. So we are happy for each and every one of you that has been sharing and with us. And as tonight, as always, if you're watching on Facebook, hit those likes and engage with us, and hit those hearts. And we appreciate each and every one of you that are tuning in tonight. So tonight's topic, we are talking about, what kind of love is this?
What kind of love is this?
Yeah.
It could be, what kind of love is this particularly? What kind of love that you have? What kind of love are we experiencing in our relationship right now? Or just what kind of love? Because we oftentimes say, I love you. We also oftentimes say that we love our things. We love our car. We love our cat. We love our dog. We love our job. We love New York. We love different things, but we say we love our spouse. We love our children. We love our mother. We love our dad. Who do we love? You know what I'm saying? But what are the differences in these loves?
Yep, it's very interesting. This is a topic that I think we probably dwell on for a little bit, and even as we might even go into some of the marriage counseling and things that we have coming up in the next few months. There's a different types of love.
Yes.
Which is very interesting. When you think of love, you just think of love, but there's really several types of love. And we're actually going to get into the different types of love tonight, because a lot of times in a relationship, for it to be successful, you need to apply all these different types of love.
You do.
Yep,
You do.
you definitely have to use them, because one situation may take a certain type of love, and then another situation may take a deeper type of love.
Yeah.
And so it's very important, if you understand what type of love is this and what kind of love that you are giving or receiving, it can be helpful in your relationship.
Yeah. So I guess we're gonna just get right on into it again, as people are coming on and talking about love and how to use that love to survive even fires, like we talked about, survive things in your relationship. So we want to survive those things, or survive those times where there's a indiscretion, where there's a rift, where there's some turbulence in the relationship. It takes love to survive it. It takes true love to survive it.
It does. So,
but the right kind of love, because the wrong kind of love ain't gonna get it
right. It won't help you get through whatever you're going through.
Absolutely.
So the first type of love is eros.
Yes.
And that type of love is like, it's a romantic, it's pleasurable. This is usually when we talk about when you fall in love, you fall into this type of love, which is eros. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I'll talk about a little bit. Right. Eros is erotic love. Erotic love. It's you appreciate somebody's physical attributes. It's driven by attraction, and it's usually sexual attraction, or longing. And a lot of times they even say lust, and sometimes we use lust as just an all bad word. It's not necessarily an all bad word, but lust, can get carried away, and it can draw you in, entice you. And when it does do that, then it is really an all bad word. But eros, does incorporate that kind of deep passion, or longing, or almost lusting for someone, that romantic love. You're passionate, and you want to have that type of love between your partner, between your spouse. That's the kind of love that you usually experience first when you're falling for someone, when you're falling in love. And at least the earlier stages of love is based largely on the eros.
And we have found that this type, or this kind of love, being romantic and passionate, is, like you said, at the beginning of the relationship. But a good relationship is the one that can continue this through the whole journey. Yeah. So even though that you fall into it, you go into it as when your eyes are blurry and everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
But when you're able to incorporate that into year 5 and 6, or later on down the line, 20 years later, it may be a different type, but it's still eros, meaning that it's still, if you can have that same passion that you had at day one, and have the same, even though maybe a physical attribute of your spouse has changed, but the attraction to the person hasn't. And that's what eros is.
Right.
And that's the kind of love that, we should have as much as we can. Every single time, every day that you wake up, you should try to exhibit some type of that type of love. And so, but a lot of times people fall out of it, or don't understand what's going on in their marriage, is because they just had that.
Yeah,
they just had that, and they didn't
develop
else.
Any of the other loves that we're going to talk about, which are strong platforms, and strong anchors for when that eros kind of goes away. It is a strong anchor for making sure that your relationship lasts.
That's good. So the second type of love, and these are Greek words that the Greek had applied for the words that is a type of love. The second type of love is philia. What that means is it's an intimate, but it's authentic, more like a friendship type of love. And that's it's a soul to soul bond, but it's also that encouraging. It's also like where friendships are made. Like I love my best friend, I love my fraternal brother, and this type of relationship type of love.
Like, the philia is like you down with somebody, and you have that kind of camaraderie, and you have that, you want the best for that person. You have great goodwill for that person. And it also is, it's intimacy.
Right.
Because you can have eros without intimacy. You can have sexual desire for somebody. You can have that kind of physical attractions to somebody without any intimacy at all. And unfortunately, a lot of marriages do have that.
Right.
They have that and that only, and they don't have the philia.
That's true. But this also can be, from a spouse, one spouse to another, but when you apply it to like a family member or, a good friend or whether, you can still have a connection to a soul because you shared some type of experience.
Sure.
Like two friends that could have this love that grew up together in a orphanage or something like that, and they've had something that connected them. But in the relationship, that's really how your soulmate is part of you. Like you said, it's like a destiny type of love, right?
Absolutely. That philia, you have to have that in order to have a successful marriage. You also have to have that philia, right? Because you're not going to always have eros,
right?
There's going to be times you should, but there's going to be times when that eros, that passionate sexual type of desire is just not present in that moment. But you should still have philia, because it is it is an intimacy, it is a knowing, it's a soul to soul bond. It is you down, it's your ride or die, that kind of love,
right? Like it's like when you are like you can have a sexual relationship, like you said, in your marriage, but the intimacy comes from having philia, because you can have, like just what we said, I think it already said, you can have sex and have an eros type of love, because it's a physical attraction, but the intimacy comes from this type of love.
Absolutely.
And so we're building on this. So so now I found out that I need at least two of these type of loves to have a good foundation in marriage, which is going to take us to our third one. Did you want to say what that is?
Now, LUDUS is more of the playful, flirtatious type of love. Now, honestly, I think that a lot of people have this before they have any other type of love. It's like the crush that you have on a person. It's like when you see a person and you get butterflies, or you think about a person and you be like, oh, or you see them in your DM and you're like, yes, or you see them, that thing that makes you excited, or they send you a pic and it's, you're excited. So that's that kind of love that's playful and flirtatious. But again, that same kind of love should be still in your marriage. Just little things like a few minutes ago, you were like, come here, let me kiss you. And I'm like, okay. And I'm coming running down the stairs. You're like, I'm going to meet you because I want to hurry up and kiss you. So, that is flirtatious. That is playful. And, nobody's here but him and I, so I wasn't doing it for any other reason but for me. So that kind of thing should be present in your relationship. It should be present in your love. But that type of love is the love that is before all of the other I think types of love.
It's really a casual love.
Yes.
And it's a love without obligation.
It is.
So you can have this love by being flirtatious, and like you said, is a great example. It's that love where you're just liking somebody, finding them out, they sort of make your heart beat, you're giddy. But you can't have the other two and just have this, because your marriage won't go anywhere.
It won't go anywhere.
So you have to have the other two, but you don't really have to have this one. But it's a part of love. Yeah, it's a part of love, and it's the kind of love that makes things fresh. Yes, makes things fun.
Absolutely, and you should keep that. And we're going to talk a little bit more how to keep these loves and incorporate these loves and where these loves, come in relationship and in success of relationship. These are the Greek words, the Greek loves that we're talking about. And they're all biblical, but they all apply in our everyday lives and every part of our lives. But it should definitely apply in your marriage, in your relationship, because if you don't let these apply in your marriage and relationship, then when you have a rough patch, there's going to be a breakdown, and it may be an irreconcilable breakdown if you don't apply these types of loves.
Right. So if you have philia and you have eros, but you don't have this type of love, try incorporating that. Find something that makes your spouse feel this way or make you feel this way about your spouse, and include that into your, into your relationship. It's very important, to include those things. So, we appreciate you guys. And those of you that are watching on our watch party, if you want to comment, you can comment on WhatsApp Entertainment. We are able to see everything, or even on our watch parties. And those of you that are watching on Facebook and WhatsApp Entertainment, we are loving all the comments that you are giving us. So what were you gonna say?
No, I was just you making sure, because if I pronounce the next love wrong, I already know some people gonna laugh.
Storage?
No, I'm sorry, not storage, but the other one, the one that comes after that. Because when I say it, you guys are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, if you'd have said that wrong, it'd have been a different kind of party on this Love in 60 Seconds."
Right. So before we get to that, when we talked about Eros being romantic, PHILIA being intimate, LUDUS being playful, and this one is storage. Storge. Excuse me. Thank you. And that's more like unconditional.
It's unconditional familial love. It is like, really it is the protective, the kinship based love. It is the love that, like, a lot of times that that you may have for your sister or your brother or your children. It's driven by familiarity. It's driven by this person is my family. This person is my love, in that it's like a mother loving her baby. That kind of love is not Eros. That kind of love is not LUDUS. It's this kind of love is a unconditional love. And we're gonna come back to this kind of love, because this same kind of love can save your relationship. We're gonna go back to it. This one, and there's another one that we're gonna talk about that can save your relationship if you lose all the others.
Yeah, that's true. And why do we want to apply this type of love into our relationship? Why is it important? I think it's important because it's sort of love that because even though you're familiar, can also deal with it's part of a love that you need for understanding, forgiveness. So like this is the kind of love that you still love your parents even though they weren't perfect.
Sure.
You still love your children even though they aren't perfect.
Or you love that baby before that baby even knows to love you back.
Right.
And you would die for that baby. Right. And that baby has no clue that it's what the concept is of even loving you back.
Right. That's really good. So that means that when my
that's the God love.
That's God love. Because that means when you make me mad, or you don't deserve, or I feel I don't want to give emotional or physical love, I have a duty to love you this way.
Yes. You
have a duty to love me this way, because this is an unconditional love. This is one of the ways that Christ loves us unconditionally.
Yes.
And because it removes faults out of the equation.
Yes.
And then it allows us to be able, now this is a hard sometimes love to give when you are offended.
Yes.
But it is the love that the offendee needs to give to keep the relationship from falling apart.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's a really,
that's really good.
It
is because it is the kind of love that will help you. So, and we're going to segue here, and then want to talk about the other loves. We just only have a couple more anyway to talk about, a few more to talk about. But this type of love, and it's not mentioned enough, and it's not given enough base or credit for what it is, because this type of love is the love that will help you to also pity a person that does not deserve your pity. That is a person that is doing or has done something wrong, but instead of you being angry with that person, instead of you wanting that person to pay, instead of you wanting that person to get back at that person for what they did, it's the type of love that will make you look at your spouse that has spent all the money and done something really dumb, or has had an indiscretion or something, but look at them in pity and say, or like, God, I really don't want the enemy to destroy my wife. Yeah. I don't want the enemy to destroy. I should be angry with my wife. I should be upset with my wife, and I am in a sense, but I don't want the enemy to destroy it. So whatever I need to do, God, in order to make it right, in order to help her come back to where she needs to be, then Lord, give me wisdom to do it. instead of just clapping back at her, it causes you to pity, and it causes you to give unconditional and undeserved love.
Right. And sometimes the world will be like, well, you don't deserve that love because you don't, because they only know PHILIA or EROS, but if we try to, when we're talking about love and we say, what kind of love is this? This is the kind of love that you have to incorporate in your relationship, because it's one of the ways that Christ loved us.
Absolutely.
And it's a foundation. So if you are struggling with loving your spouse because of offense, you have to then search and say, well, how can I apply this type of love?
Yeah.
How do I give this kind of love to my spouse? Because if I don't, this is going to allow the enemy to come in and get into my heart and get into my mind and get into my relationship. And so, now we'll go back into this next type of love, which is, it's really interesting. Once again, these are the Greek words for this type of love. And I'm going to let you pronounce it so I don't mess it up.
I said PHILAUTIA. PHILAUTIA. Because and anybody know I could say this really wrong, and it's a whole nother word, but no, we don't want that word. We want this word this time. It can be talking about some kind of love, but that's not the love we're talking about tonight. All right. PHILAUTIA, self-love. And that, this is not something that is a new thing. It's evident, in back in the Greek society, and it basically, the basis of it though is basically, it basically encompasses two types of concepts. It is like self-care and then self-esteem, so that you are taking care of yourself and that you are esteeming yourself. And you cannot really take care of yourself and esteem yourself, or you can't really love somebody else if you're not taking care of yourself and esteeming yourself.
That's good.
You have got to take care of you, your own heart, and you got to take care of your own self so that you can be present enough to take care of somebody else and to love somebody else. So this one is very important as well. It's not a new concept, but it's like, you can't put on a face mask and act like, you're not present in it and you're just trying to do everything for everybody else. And a lot of times in desperation in relationships, you do that. You try to you mask your own hurt, you mask your own pain, you mask we're going to get to the explanation of it, but you don't deal with yourself and you just try to make sure you sugarcoat it and cover it up and love on the other person, but don't deal with what's in your own heart. That part you do have to deal with. You have to have self-love, and the way that you find true self-love is in the mirror of God.
That's true.
You're looking in God's reflection. You look at God the way that He loves us, and then when you're confident in yourself. And we talked about this some years ago. We talked about you don't get your validation from your spouse. You don't get your worth from your spouse. You don't get your power from your spouse. You get all of that from God. And when you are already validated, you are already got your own self-worth, you already got your power. You don't need somebody else. You're not depending on somebody else to give that to you. You have it already. And so when you're in the relationship with them, you're not in a deficit of it.
Right.
You're not in a deficit of these things or who you are. You are in a much better position, in a much better place to give them the love that they need. But your validation and who you are, you got to get that from God. That has to come from God.
That's true.
Because if you wait for somebody else to give it to you, they don't know how to give it to you. They didn't create you. They didn't make you. They don't know what's really deep down on the inside of you, but God does. And when you get that revelation and you get that joy and you get that fullness, oh man, I'm telling you, you can really give somebody some love and you can give somebody forgiveness.
That's true. And somebody commented that type of love is a love that it's hard to love others if you don't love yourself first. Absolutely. Which is true. And I think where people get mixed up with this type of love is because self-love is different than self-pleasure.
Right, totally
because
different.
self-pleasure is selfish.
It is.
And that leads to narcissism.
Yeah.
Because
Ooh,
what
that's
happens,
good, sir.
because what happens is that, when you are I'm taking it, it's all about me. I'm gonna take care of me. Yeah, you love yourself first to make yourself complete to your spouse. But when you start pleasuring yourself first, then that is not love.
Yes.
That is saying I'm being selfish. I'm going to take care of my own needs. That could be physically, that could be mentally. The self-love person is the one that seeks fame, seeks fortune, all that. I got to be out. That's
self-pleasure.
Excuse me, self-pleasure. Instead of self-love, is that type of person. And so where people fall in relationships is that they get self-pleasure and self-love mixed up.
Confused. It is not the same thing. Self-pleasure and self-love are not equal. Again, like you said, that's where narcissism comes in, when you are trying to you're from a vantage point of self-pleasure. When you want to be, I'm gonna make me happy before I make anybody else happy. This about me, and then it's about you. No, self-love means I'm going to care for me. I'm going to be full so that I can pour out my love on you.
Yeah, somebody type of amen in the comments down.
I know. I'm gonna give myself up. Can we give us some heart?
Because there's a lot of people that have self-pleasuring relationships and they're calling it love.
Yeah.
And it's not. And then they're struggling in their relationship because they're being selfish.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to understand what self-love is and what self-pleasure is.
Absolutely. Two different things.
Two totally different things.
Yeah.
And so, you have to incorporate, like we said, that type of love into your relationship.
Yeah.
we got an amen. Thank you, Charvella. Thank you, Twy. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
But
he gave us absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So, now one of the other types of loves that we're going to go to is something called, if you want to pronounce it when I put it up,
PRAGMA.
And what is PRAGMA?
It is the committed, compassionate love. It is a love that is built on commitment and understanding and long-term interest, that you are building a long-term situation. And this does not have to be just with your spouse. You can have a friend that you have a long-term BFF.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over time, you can have a friend, and then that friend, that PRAGMA turns to EROS.
Mm-hmm.
You can be in a relationship with somebody, or friendship with somebody, of the opposite sex for a long time, and you begin to build and you begin to be committed to the person. That person becomes a comrade. Then it becomes what's the other word? I don't want to get, but eventually they become a confidant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They become that person, and you can develop EROS love because you get all of that intimacy and all of those other things with those other types of love building on top of PRAGMA.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, they have this type of love because, when you're committed or when you're passionate to somebody, it's also the love that hurts the most when something happens, when you lose them, when you lose a loved one, or when that person does something that hurts you, because it is one of the love that's closest to your heart.
That's right.
Because when you cherish each other, that means you've accepted their faults, you've accepted their good things, you've accepted all the things that incorporates that.
Mm-hmm.
But this type of love is important in a relationship, especially in a marriage, because this is the love that you need when you need to compromise.
Yeah.
When you sometimes say, you know what, I need to step back, or, so you can go forth, or, something like that. So that this type of love has to be included in a foundation of a good, successful marriage or relationship.
Absolutely. Because, obviously we all know, but we have to reiterate that love definitely is compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And marriage is compromise.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not able to compromise, then you're not going to have a marriage. You're not going to have a relationship. You're not going to have a very good one. I'll say that. You might be married, you may be in a relationship, but you won't be in a good one, because it is about compromise, and it's about building upon that compromise. And when you have pragma, committed, compassionate love, you are able, again, this is another one that we talked about that fosters the places of forgiveness. It fosters healing in the forgiveness, because you can forgive a person and still feel the hurt of what they've done. You can forgive a person and still live with the sting of it. And also you can be the offender, and you could have offended a person, and that you received their forgiveness, but you still deal with the guilt of what you've done. But this pragma, that committed, compassionate love, is the foundation that fosters the healing in all offenses.
Yes. Oh man, that's real good.
It's the healing in all offenses, because it grows to honor. It grows to respect. It grows to really cherishing a person. Because let me tell you something, you don't really cherish somebody until you've been hurt, or you've hurt them and they've forgiven you. You don't really cherish somebody and you really understand the concept of forgiveness. Or if you've been hurt by somebody and they've reconciled and come back with humility, you begin to learn the place of cherishing. You don't get that unless you go through that. You can honor, you don't get the depth of it. And every relationship, no matter who you are, you're going to have a place where your spouse hurts you, on a whole bunch of different levels. You know what I'm saying? It could be something that's small to somebody else, but big to you. Or it could be something that's really big to you, but small to somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? But this pragma, this committed, compassionate love, it is the love that fosters healing, and it fosters honor, respect, and cherishing one another, accepting, and that place to compromise.
So this kind of love is not the love that you get on a first date.
It is not that love. You will not see this love for a minute.
This is not the love that you get after the honeymoon.
No.
This is the love that you've been through something.
Absolutely.
That you've experienced something. And it's funny because God gives us that because life gives you that. If you just had all those other types where it was built on relationships, self-love, on emotion, and there was nothing to have a foundation to heal, because this is a love that heals. This is a love that takes that broken heart and starts putting it back together. And so until you're able to have that, and experiencing that, but this type of love, when you go through that, this type of love it pulls everything else, that EROS, it pulls that PHILIA, it pulls it all back. And then when you're able to have pragma, then you're able to be like, oh, now I got all this. It's like I
like that you did that, because that's pragma is like the nail that hooks that relationship in the ground. Because that EROS is fleeting. That other one, that LUDUS, it is fleeting. It will come and go. But this pragma will make EROS come back.
It's like a transformer. You need they put all that stuff together. And when you get that pragma, that's that love that transforms.
Absolutely. It transforms all of the other loves into what's necessary for that moment.
And because of that, and then it's funny when I'm ready to preach this message, but because of that, we go into the love that we should all be able to experience, which is agape.
Agape love. Yes, that's the empathetic, universal love. That is brotherly love. That's the love that you should have. And again, we're saying all of these loves, but you should have all of these loves present in your relationship, all of these loves present in your marriage, because they're necessary. They're necessary, one necessary for the other. It is, I like what Richard said about probably it's the anchor of love. It is the anchor of love.
It is.
It's the anchor, because you need an anchor in your love. You need an anchor in your relationship, because again, we talked about it before. Ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows in the marriage. It's ebbs and flows. You got sometimes when everything's good, you kind of just coasting, and you got sometimes where it's some stuff. And you got to have that other love that shows compassion, commitment, and all of that. But again, the agape is the love, for others that are inclusive, for the love, like the love of God. This is the love of somebody you don't know. It's the love for your fellow man. It is the love for your fellow brother. It's the love for humanity.
This is the type of love that God gave to us on the cross.
Absolutely.
And so if he gave this type of love to us on the cross, you can almost say this is almost the greatest type of love.
Yeah.
If you can have incorporate agape love into your relationship, then you're able to look over the multitudes of us sinners.
Absolutely, because it's empathetic. Agape is empathetic. You love humanity, not because humanity is perfect. You love your fellow man, not because he's perfect. You love the man that's begging on the street, to a degree. And I'm not saying that you love him like you don't eros him, you don't pragma him, you don't, but you have, you have empathy and care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of, you got to have that kind of love in your marriage. You got to have empathy and care for your spouse, because there are going to be times when you want to bop him upside the head or bop her upside the head. Now, not for real, but like theoretically, you want to bop them upside the head. But agape will keep you from doing that. And
this is the type of love that God wanted us to have to build countries, to build families, to build nations. And this is why our country struggled with so much, because we didn't have agape love. We didn't have that love to build a great society. Yeah. The leaders, Congress, a lot of people don't have that type of love. They may have a intimate love, they may have a compassionate love, but they don't have a love that's inclusive.
Exactly.
And inclusiveness means you bring everybody in.
Everybody gets to come to the table. And even in your relationship, everybody, no matter what their fault is, no matter if they have made offenses, whatever they've done, when you're able to show agape type of love, it's a precise love, it's a unique love. Yeah.
And when we apply that type of love, and like I said, sure enough, Sister Biff says it's empathetic, it's universal.
Absolutely.
But it's much needed, because this is the love of Christ.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We have to have that agape in your relationship, in your marriage. Like we said, if you have that agape love, when other loves seem like they have failed you, or they're not present or really riled up in your relationship, if you have that agape, you will have empathy. Because see, if your spouse is mistreating you, and they're doing something that, if they're mistreating you, they're working against the will of God. They're working against what God's plan is for them. And if they're mistreating you, or if they're not living up to their ability as a spouse, if they're not doing what they need to do as a man or a woman, then they're not doing things that are pleasing in God's sight. And if they're not doing that, then we are the first people that feel the brunt of that deficit of what they're doing. And if we have agape for them, then we are able to incorporate that agape along with that pragma, or whatever, these different types of love, as that foundation to help, to really help us to pray for them and not judge them, to help us to pray for them and not be angry, to help us pray for them and not really be broken or hurt. We can pray for them for a vantage point where we are warfaring for them and not letting the enemy destroy them. It's like, if your spouse hurts you in a certain way, you are inclined to just, be hurt and bear that pain. But if your child says something to you and you're really angry with them, but in that same moment, that you're angry with them, if anybody else jump off, you about to pop off, and it's about to be a fight, because you love them unconditionally. You agape them. You have inclusiveness, even though they have done wrong, even though they are wrong, you are letting them still have a seat at the table because of your empathetic, universal, this is my child, this is my fellow, I'm loving this person. I'm loving this person. And if you have that same type of love for your spouse, it will help you. Again, it will help you to love when they are not lovable.
That's good. Love when they're not lovable. And the thing about agape love, and the main thing is that some of these other loves, when you like, hey honey, I need this, or you look good today. When I say you look good, and I love your figure, I love everything that, especially when you're talking about the giddy love, that was pleasurable to me. It was, I gave you a compliment, but it was pleasurable to me. But when you have agape love, this is the type of love that you do without expecting anything in return. And when you can love somebody in agape love, and not expect anything from them, That's the way Christ wants you to love.
Listen, this is this is a lesson for us as well. We build on this as well. Understanding and applying and making these loves applicable within our relationship, because man, loving your spouse without the expectation of this necessarily the same treatment. And we oftentimes say, people used to say marriage is 50-50. It is not. It is sometimes 100-0. It is 100 and then the other person is given 10, but it should be 100-100. You should be full on 100%. They should be full on 100%. If you only give 50 and 50, there's still a deficit of love there. Yeah. You got to give your all when you are loving your spouse. You have got to give your all. And sometimes it is a job. It is a level that is not met with the same intensity. Yeah. There are times that are like that, but there are times when it is met 100, and honey, you got all 7 of those loves operating in your life, and it is absolute bliss. And this is what God designed. This is what God wanted. This is what God was thinking about when he said it is not good for man to be alone, and he created woman. He created male and female. He created them and he put them together, and he did not want them to be isolated. He did not want them to be off by themselves. He didn't want them to suffer that. And we were talking, I don't know if I was talking about with you, I believe it was, or no, maybe it was my son, Frederick. I said, listen, Eve would have never been tricked had she not been isolated off by herself. If Adam had been with her, she wouldn't have got in trouble. Right. But because she was isolated, that is how she got in trouble. That is how she got tricked. And then thus, Adam by himself, she goes up to him after she's been contaminated by, the enemy, get you isolated, then get you hooked up into these wrong things. That's why it's bad to be isolated within your relationship. Do not be sleeping in different beds. That's a no. Yeah. It's a no. And I know so many people do it. They're like, oh, well, he don't want to disturb me when he come to bed. Take some sleeping pills and let him come to the same bed with you. Right. Okay. Or that is a surefire marker that something is already wrong in your relationship. Right.
Because if we teach them Bible study tonight,
I know you're doing it.
The snake was already in the garden.
He was already
in the garden, but he wasn't able to be effective to be a snake until they were alone. Yeah. And so isolation is one of the main ways that the enemy works to destroy things. Yes. And so when you are, like you say, you start sleeping alone because of whatever reason, maybe you don't, that's a breakdown in your fence.
It's a break in your fence.
And when you start isolating yourself, even after something's happened, that's you're in the enemy's territory.
Yes.
So you have to be able to get out of the territory. And there's no other way to get out of the territory without the praying spouse helping you get out of it.
Absolutely.
And because what happens as soon as 2 of you get together, you can put that thing to flight.
Absolutely. You can get rid of it. Yeah. One can put 1,000 to flight. So if that one spouse is praying, it's some stuff happening. But if both of you all start praying, then, oh my gosh, what you're going to move and what you're going to shake, and you're going to be more than a force, but you will be a movement in the world. But again, it's the trick of isolation. I don't even know why I actually that was kind of a tangent that I went on, but because I'm there, we just gonna talk about it. Don't be isolated. Don't let yourself be isolated. Don't sleep in separate rooms. Don't sleep in separate beds. Don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed. And if you can't, you go to bed angry, be angry in that same bed. You know what I'm saying? Till you get yourself together. Be angry in that same bed. Angry in that same room. I don't want him sleeping in my bed. I want him with me. go to bed in that same bed.
And make them miserable.
Make them miserable and put your feet on them. Put your feet on them. Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Because they end up being warmed up. Be like, you know what? This ain't so bad.
Exactly.
Or maybe it is bad, but tomorrow you'll be able to address it.
And tomorrow you'll be able to talk about it and you'll be able to communicate. So, all of those things, making sure that you are not allowing the person to be isolated and feel that deficit of love and feel that deficit of being different, or being drawn away in different directions. Making sure that you have these loves, that you build on these loves, you engage these loves within your relationship, because these loves are appropriate. All of these loves are appropriate in marriage. All of them are appropriate and helpful, and they interact and they attract one another in marriage. But out of all of the ones we in marriage, we make the biggest deal out of EROS, but honestly, EROS is the least important. Now it is important.
It is important,
but it's the least important.
At least. So we didn't even know we were going to be teaching tonight. So we're just going to, these types of love, you have to pretty much incorporate them all. To be able to have not just a healthy marriage, but it also help you to navigate if you're having difficult times in relationships. So if you're just tuning in or if you're signing off, we're going to go through it. Our topic tonight was, what kind of love was this? And there's 7 types of love that the Greek used to determine or to apply the different kind of loves. And the first one, if you want to write these down and take it with you and talk about it with your spouse later, the first one was EROS, which means
romantic and passionate love.
The second one was PHILIA, which means
intimate, authentic friendship love.
And you know what? One thing that we forgot to say that I want to make sure that love is also a choice.
Yes.
As much as it is as an emotion.
Absolutely.
And as you've seen, some of these loves are feelings, but some of them are emotions, and feelings. But some of them take action to apply.
Absolutely.
And it's something that you have to do every day, especially when we talked about LUDUS, which is that playful. Flirtatious love.
Yep, you have to act on that. You have to make it playful. You have to flirt. Right. Flirt with your spouse. Right. No flirting with anyone else. Right. Just in case you weren't clear on that.
Right.
Okay, because that's a good way to get your eye dotted.
And then after that was STORGE, which is
unconditional familial love, like a love that you have, just unconditional love, that you have for a family member.
Definitely. And then after that was PHILAUTIA, which we talked about being self-love, being able to love yourself, but not being
not being self-pleasing or narcissistic.
Right. And then after that was PRAGMA, which is
committed, compassionate love.
Yeah. And then the love of Christ, one of the loves of Christ, which is agape.
Empathetic, universal. I love you. I love everybody. I just love humanity. And you are my brother. I love you. You are my friend. You are good. You are a person. And you're worth being good to. And that's how you should, share with your spouse. Your spouse is worth being good to. Your husband, your wife, they're worth being good to. Even if they don't know it or if they don't act like it. It is they're worth being good to, and they're worth your love, and you are worth loving. You are worth loving. And so you got to know that first, that talking about that self-love, know that you're worth loving, because God emphatically loves you. He loves you so much that obviously he gave that's why the Bible says God so loved the world, but he so loved you that he's finding you. And he allowed you to be on this live right now, and he's talking to you to tell you how much he loves you and how much he wants to make sure that he has someone in the earth to show you personally that love.
Right. And that, when I was thinking that when I wish I had put this on here, but we, commission song about love not being love until you give it away. And so you can't love your spouse in isolation because you can't give them the love that they need when you're by yourself.
Nope.
That's
powerful.
Because, and that's why the enemy wants to isolate you, because if you get back together, then you're able to give that love. You're able to receive that love. You're able to see it. So, if you know the tricks of the enemy and how he works and how what they come how he comes in, his devices, and you're able to set up fences and protection to protect your marriage. So, we just want to give you some ideas and things to help you, get through the week, get
some
through the
tools.
month,
Absolutely. Tools, like we said at the beginning, hey, you may not need that fire extinguisher for 364 days, but a fire may break out on 365 and you have an extinguisher and you're able to put that fire out and able to survive anything in your relationship and move on and move forward with the spirit of love and reconciliation.
That's right. So we appreciate you guys tuning in for What Kind of Love Is This Today?
Yeah.
And this is episode 60. So I guess we're going to probably do something maybe to celebrate you guys. We appreciate
we'll give you guys something.
We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate those of you that have liked and shared. So those of you that were with us live tonight, I think we'll let this go up for 24 hours. We will probably do maybe a little announcement on our Instagram page.
What, a giveaway?
Yeah, choose somebody with a Cash App. We want to sow into you for being such a faithful.
All right, for signing on. So we'll leave it up for 24 hours.
Let's do this. If you share this on Facebook, or you share this, or make a comment on our WhatsApp Entertainment page on Instagram that you've shared this with somebody, and on our last post, and I'll go ahead and put a post up tonight about just say, what kind of love is this? So share that post with somebody on Instagram. What? Or share.
I don't know what I'm doing. What are we supposed to do?
Here's what you want to do. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram.
Okay.
So if you share this post tonight,
if you share this
live post on Facebook, then you are eligible to be in our cash giveaway.
Absolutely. So make sure you DM us your Cash App.
I'm going to put up a post tonight saying we're giving away something. You have to go back and watch this on Facebook. And if you share that post on Instagram, that'll also put you in the running to give our cash giveaway that we'll give away on Wednesday.
We'll give it away Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll make an announcement on who won. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in to Love in 60 Seconds. Yeah. And, you guys are amazing. So we appreciate your love and support. We're praying for you. And as always, you can send us your DMs and let us know what you want us to talk about. And like I said, we are on all social media, so you can follow us on Instagram, WhatsApp Entertainment, Facebook, WhatsApp Entertainment, and you can go back and watch all 60. A whole
bunch of stuff we done talked about. It's not much that we have not talked about, but if there's anything we haven't talked about and you want us to talk about it, let us know. Thank you for all of you guys that do send us information on things that you'd like for us to talk about. But again, if there's other things that you'd like for us to talk about, send us a DM and we will definitely do so.
That's good. And I like Evelina's. If you guys DM us with the 7 types of loves, that'll give you 2 entries.
All right. We're going to go for it. Evelina's always good for an extra game, for a good game. All right. Good.
So Evelina, you better get it right.
That's right. So that's right.
We'll see who was taking notes.
Who was taking notes with the 7 types of love.
Yeah, 7, what kind of love is this? And then it will give you an extra point. Will tell us what kind of love that you give away to your spouse every day.
Well, they should be all of them.
It should be all of them, but we'll see. But we appreciate you. This has been Frederick and Jean Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds. See you guys next week, Monday, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Man, we agape you.
Yeah, we agape you. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
This has been Love in 60 Seconds. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, good night, everybody.
60